Hello everyone, my name is Michael K. Welcome to a Replica Airguns tabletop video. Today we're looking at the Cybergun Colt 1911 Mark IV CO2 Blowback Airsoft pistol. And this again is the tabletop review. I haven't shot this gun yet, so there's no shooting review or field test review for it just yet. That'll happen a little bit later. The weather's just been a little bit ugly lately, so I'm just doing tabletop reviews at the moment. Now, this is a blowback all-metal design gun. Has a dark gray matte finish, similar to the KWC 1911s that I've reviewed many times in the past. It uses 12 gram CO2 cartridges, shoots 6mm plastic airsoft BBs, so no 4.5mm steel BBs in this gun at all. They're too small. It also has a 19 round full-size dropout metal magazine that holds again the BBs and the CO2. This gun weighs in at 2.36 pounds or 1,070 grams. Shoots in single action only, and has a claimed feet per second of 361 using 0.20 gram BBs. It also has a spin up, which is pretty much the same as hop up, and it is adjustable. And again, this is a Colt Government 1911 replica. It is licensed by Cybergun, distributed by Cybergun, and made in China. I'm not exactly sure what factory makes it. It does come in this nice cardboard box here. You can see you have the Cybergun sticker on there, information there, the length. They didn't talk about length. How many joules? 1.3 feet per second. That's feet per second using a 0.12 gram BB. Again, we have spin up, blowback, full metal CO2. Now you'll see here there's this piece on this gun. Normally it would actually be red, because Cybergun is distributed through the US, so all the guns come into the US to Cybergun there, and so they have to abide by the US regulations, airsoft having to have red tips. So when we get them here in Canada, they've been distributed, this is basically the backside, same thing, but they've been distributed into the US through Cybergun, so they have those red tips. Now, I'm going to show you something quickly. I know you guys are going to ask, and that's why I did it. I pulled mine off. Well, pulled it off. I broke it off, I guess you'd say. I tried to unscrew it, right? And as you can see, it just kind of snapped off, which meant I kind of had a whole other world of problems to try and get all that red stuff out of the threading. Basically, what they've done here, because it's, you know, it's supposed to stay on the gun, is they've glued it in to the threading. I have heard you can use things like a hair dryer using really hot temperature to soften up that glue. I've tried that before on some other guns. It hasn't worked too well for me, but it could work on this gun. I just tried to unscrew it, and it ended up just basically snapping. So the threading was just gripped right on there. So you do also get the manual here. See if I can open this up. You're not going to see all of it. We can see some of it. So just instructions, how to load the magazine, how to tighten the CO2. All right, we'll talk about that in a bit. How to work the gun. Right, and this is the high kappa version. It is the double stack magazine, so 19 rounds is pretty decent in airsoft 1911. Now, before I do a walk around of this gun and show you kind of what I did with the red tip and everything, we'll introduce some other guns here. So different guns. Now this is the Tanfoglio Witness, distributed again by Cybergun, but it is a Taiwanese made in Taiwan gun, so not made in China. And you know, I would say it's slightly higher quality. With the magazines out, it has a heavier weight to it. Just certain things like the blowback, it just sounds a little bit better. You know, the big main difference is double stack magazine versus single stack. Just the design. Obviously, you have a thicker grip and a completely different style magazine. These guns are not built exactly the same at all. They look similar, but there's definitely a lot of differences. Right, you can see that there. Right, obviously, differences. The Mark IV also has full adjustable rear sight. We'll get into that in a bit, but it is different. No tactical rail, but it does have tactical trigger and hammer, you know, and an ambidextrous safety. So a couple things that the standard Government 1911 wouldn't have. All right, let's get this out of there. Let's introduce the KJ Works 1911. This is the olive and brown version. And nice gun, probably the highest quality out of all of them. And this one does have some CO2 in it, so right? Nice, very, I mean, the slide is just, there's literally no wiggle at all. This again is a single stack design, even though it does use CO2 and it comes out a bit. It is a single stack design like the KWC 1911. Okay, you can see it's made in Taiwan as well. Very high quality pistol. This one did not come with the red tip, even though it's airsoft, because it was distributed right here into Canada. It wasn't brought into the US first, so we don't need the orange tips. This, by the way, was a steel BB version, so again, no red tip. Even though I believe this one was distributed through Cybergun, it came to the US first, and then to Canada. No red tip required on BB version guns. All right, let's get back to this guy here. By the way, that little bit of smudging there, I just haven't, there was a sticker there, haven't totally removed it. Just going to come off with my finger, but that's just from a sticker. Okay, all right, let's get back into the, basically this Cybergun Colt MK5 Series 70, right, I guess a 1970, not sure. Government 1911, right. So it does have licensing, as you can see here. It's just basically, I wouldn't even say etched, painted on. It's not engraved into the gun at all like the original would be. So, you know, that's a little bit disappointing, but it is licensed. You do have Colt licensing on the grips, right? Got the horsey there. You do have ambidextrous safety, right? You do have a working grip safety, which is nice. Again, you have your grips with the Colt markings. Colt's Government 9 model, basically there. Serial number, again. Nice trigger, tactical trigger. Nice tactical. It is nice that this gun actually has a half cock, which is more realistic to a 1911. I have the mag out of here. You'll notice that this one does not have a half cock. There is no half cock. So that's a little disappointing. Whereas the KG Works does have a half cock. So nice. And all of them have working grip safeties. Let's take another look at the top here. So there's our rear sight, which is fully adjustable for windage and elevation. There again is our hammer, right? Ejection port. Oops, didn't quite lock back there. And we have our ejection port. You can see right through it. Front sight, rear sight. Now let me get that closed. Not really easy to see these sights. They're gray and there's no white markings, so it is a little difficult to see down these sights. And it is a large front post, so it fills up that rear sight a lot. So it's really hard to tell on some backgrounds when you're shooting it. So when I do the field test, that might affect it a little bit. Hard to say. Now let's get into this front piece here. You can see there's still a little bit of red in there because it was glued on. I did the best I could to get it out. Maybe some solvent. I did actually put some sandpaper in there and try to file as much out as possible. I'd have to keep going right down into the grooves to get it out completely. I guess you could use a drill bit and a drill press to do that. Potentially, I'm sure you could get it all out if you wanted to. Or you could even maybe just spray a little bit of silver paint in there, mask it off, and that would get rid of the red. Definitely there's a way to do it. You know, I don't necessarily recommend you do it. It is a bit of work. This aluminum, which is the barrel, outside barrel, is soft, so I did actually scratch it up a little bit too with my pliers, and I had to sort of sand it down. So just letting you know, there's a bit of work involved if you decide to go that route. But you can get it off. It looks a lot better without the red tip for sure. Let's take a look at the magazine real quick here. Double stack, right? Okay, you could load it from the bottom there, right? Put the BBs in there. Now, this guy's gonna, these are always fun to get off. How does it come off? Should just come off. Oh, there we go. So you push that down and this comes off, right? And that's how you would load your CO2 right in there. When you got this finger tightened, you would then put that right in there. If I can just see what I'm doing here. And then tighten it the rest of the way, okay? So that's how you tighten it the rest of the way. All right. There. Again, this just allows you to take that off, okay? On there now. And there's your CO2 valve there. Alright, at this point I'm going to do just a quick field strip. Pretty easy on this gun. You just want to take this piece out here. Right? Don't take your mag out first. Always take your mag out first. This guy here, sometimes you just use a tool. Pop that out. Okay. So come off the front. There's your frame. Okay. Your receiver, your lower frame. Okay, all metal. We have our slide. Now you can take it down if you want. Pop this guy out. Pop this guy out. Barrel will now come out the front. So we're pretty much apart. You don't even necessarily need to take the barrel bushing off as well, but you can. There's your barrel. Okay, you do have a hop up, as you can see there on the side. Hop up. Right. Outer inner barrel. This does come out. You can just unscrew that screw there. This swivels around and you can actually take the inner barrel out if you'd like to. Let's put that back in. Barrel bushing on. Pretty easy to field strip this gun. Hardest part is actually getting that little clip out. The slide catch release, that's the hardest part, I'd say. A little tight. And there it is. It should be in there. Something's not, there it is. Okay, we're all back together. And that's it. Mag in, good to go. Alright, at this point, we're going to talk about some of the pros and the cons. It is an all-metal constructed gun, so that's kind of nice. Metal frame, metal slide, metal magazine. Pretty much all the parts are metal, with the exception of perhaps a few seals and things like that. It does have a full-length blowback operation, so it should have a nice blowback kick to it. It's a pretty accurate copy of a Government 1911 styled replica with a few updates, a few tactical parts thrown in there. It does have the double stack magazine too. And it does have a true 1911 single action trigger. Excellent pull, very smooth and light. It's nice that it has the true working grip safety on it. And again, it does have a double stack magazine that holds the CO2 and the BB. So you're going to get a few extra BBs with the double stack magazine like that. Now because it's a Cybergun, it is fully Colt licensed. And it does have that fully adjustable rear sight for windage and elevation. Even though it is a fairly decent Government 1911 replica, it does have that tactical trigger and hammer with the ambidextrous safeties for that more modern look and feel. Alright, some of the cons. It did come with the ugly red tip on it. That kind of sucks, but you can get it off with a bit of work. You know, I'm not sure I recommend it because it doesn't come off too easy. You can try applying a little bit of heat. But if it does break off, you're going to have to do a little bit of sanding to get the inner piece off. Now, I can kind of tell that it's Chinese quality. The gun does feel lighter than a typical Taiwanese gun does. I'm not sure how that's going to affect longevity and performance. We'll have to see, I guess. And I wasn't really a big fan of the way the licensing isn't engraved into the metal or into the gun. It's just sort of etched on there, sort of an afterthought. Alright, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it so far, but this gun is available in our Canada Replica Airgun store for sale. You can buy it there in our Canada store. So if you're interested in buying it, make sure to check out replicaairguns.ca. I'll put links in the description of this video and also over on my written post. I will have a written post for this gun over at replicaairguns.com in the blog area with additional photos, pictures of it, nice high-res photos so you can take a close look at it. Also come on down to replicaairguns.com where we have other articles, posts, reviews, and of course our Canada and US Replica Airgun stores where we sell air guns, airsoft guns, BB guns, pellet guns, blank guns, knives, and other accessories. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe before you head out. Also check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, take care.